welcome to another edition of UMLO News. It's March 2025, and we're going to play a little catch up since our last report. So I want to be sure that you share the channel with others. You know, I was in a shop the other day and I told a modeler about the video channel and he didn't know about UMLO. And I went, seriously? You've got someone that works in your shop here that is a subscriber and contributes quite often. So I guess someone wanted to have an advantage within their shop. So I always appreciate competition. I also get modelers approaching me that just installed Sparx and they're asking on where to start. And so I'm going to include a link to the My First playlist. I think that's the best place to start and the reason I created it. All right. So since the last UMLO news, we basically have covered my asset repository. I almost want to call it architecture repository or intelligence repository. We published a video on reusing the asset repository. We then published a video that we need to play catch up on for mastering state machines and activity diagrams. And then for advanced users, we also published cloning elements in Sparx. So I'll leave these links below. I'm only allowed 5 cards in YouTube, and I want to make sure I'm including everything that you need to do to get started in advancing in modeling. For early adopters, we published My First Export and Import. We also published a video on My First Tag Values, another one on My First Stereotypes, and then most recently, one on My First Legend. These are all important to get us into the subjects that we're going to be covering in 2025, because we also want to make sure that you all are working as productively as possible. I published an extra video, which I'll include a link to, on how I start projects in my local environment, because I do a lot of research and development. I get into new shops and I want to understand where they currently are between as is and to be modeling. In other words, their current mode of operation, and then their future mode of operation, what they're planning on doing. So the objective so far is to get early adopters up to speed in using Sparx Enterprise Architect. A lot of what we cover in My First, we're going to be applying to other tooling as we do compares. And I really look forward to that because I use a lot of other tooling besides Sparx Enterprise Architect. So we're planning those topics later on in 2025. So as we get back into model-driven anything, using the architecture building blocks that you've learned about in asset and architecture repository are going to help us get back into model-driven anything as we continue to deliver around subjects like data warehousing. So we've covered e-commerce and the basics about that architecture, but also in that building block architecture is our data warehousing. So as you all know, the hypes and things that are going on right now around machine learning and AI, we have to understand how we're going to incorporate our intelligence, our data into driving our objectives using AI and machine learning. I just refer to as data science. As we get into data science, machine learning, and AI, it's very important to understand that it is your intelligence. So when you see a lot of so-called free AI platforms and services that are there, they're learning from you. They're using your intelligence to train their own models. Even when you pay for certain platforms, AI platforms, they're still learning. It may be anonymized, even pseudonymized, but they're still learning from your intelligence. So we're going to be creating architecture that shows how to confine your intelligence in your own private, secure environments while integrating with other very fascinating machine learning platforms that can assist you in driving your company's objectives, your shop's objectives, even your own objectives, such as learning and educating yourselves way beyond the idea of universities. All right, so let's wrap up our news and get going on to other things. I really appreciate you watching this, keeping up, subscribing, more importantly, giving me feedback, whether I'm working with your shop today and it's in person via email, but use comments down below. Don't be bashful. A lot of people say, hey, I don't want to comment down below because I don't want to sound stupid. No one is stupid. All right, especially in software and system engineering. It's either all of us are stupid, which basically means that we just lack the intelligence to accomplish certain things. But when you start exposing your intelligence in the modeling environment, whether it's private or local or in a team environment, the doors start to really open. You start getting smarter and more confident in what you're accomplishing because you can simulate your visions using modeling. And modeling is going to be around for a very, very long time. We're trying to get it in where AI is doing a better job of assisting us in modeling so we can finally achieve Iron Man's Jarvis when we sit down with our vision and we start driving what we want to build, deliver, and basically make us successful. And we'll talk later on about what being successful is. So until that next episode, happy modeling.